Here's your wrestling news for November 6, 2022, and we're kicking off with WWE Crown Jewel as Logan Paul competed in his third match ever on the show and gave arguably the best performance of the night. It wasn't just the high-flying spots, but the attention to detail Logan has when it comes to the storytelling aspect of the business, and it's arguable that Roman Reigns became something of an afterthought. The addition of Jake Paul confronting the Usos and the intervention of Solo Sikoa only added to the match, and at 25 minutes, fans in Saudi Arabia got their money's worth with the main event. Logan Paul earned a lot of derision from wrestling fans at WrestleMania when he signed with WWE in July and at SummerSlam, but it's impossible to ignore that the YouTuber seems to be a natural when it comes to professional wrestling. Arguably, the most memorable spot of the match saw Paul hit a huge splash, a move several wrestlers use, but the social media megastar put his own spin on it. Not only did Paul hit his splash through a table, but he decided to record the footage himself. Paul may have ended up losing the match, but he was able to give fans a performance they'd never seen before at Crown Jewel, and it remains to be seen what's next for the Maverick of WWE. Logan Paul was certainly impressive in his main event match with Roman Reigns, but his body took a severe beating in the name of entertainment. After the Selfie frog splash through the table, eagle-eyed fans spotted Reigns squeezing Logan's arm, a code in wrestling for checking if your opponent is alright. It wouldn't have made sense for Reigns to just ask Logan if he was okay, given that they were opponents, but this squeeze allowed the tribal chief to know Paul was still conscious and able to continue. Thankfully, Paul wasn't too hurt by the frog splash through the table and was able to continue the match, and the spot was something even the most experienced wrestlers would hesitate doing. Paul was able to carry on after the Selfie frog splash spot, but the boxer/wrestler has been left worse for wear after the match. On his Instagram stories, Paul confirmed to his followers that he is injured through a photo with crutches and bandages on his knee. Paul told his over 24 million followers on Instagram that he has torn his meniscus in addition to his ACL and MCL, and that these injuries happened around halfway through the match. Paul had to be wheeled around the airport by his girlfriend, but remains in good spirits despite the injury, but there's no word on when he'll be back in the ring. What we do know is that healing fully from injuries like these usually takes several months, and we're wishing him a speedy recovery on his journey back to the ring. Paul may have been the star of last night's main event, but it was Roman Reigns who left Riyadh as the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. After the match, Reigns was visibly emotional on the entrance ramp, fighting back tears as he walked away with the rest of the Bloodline. Reigns' run as champion has been historic for a lot of reasons and has seen him defeat many names, but we doubt the tribal chief will ever forget his fight with the Maverick in Saudi Arabia. Logan Paul came close at times to doing the unthinkable and defeating Reigns, but in the end, it was the tribal chief's night at Crown Jewel. On Twitter, Reigns shared a video where he said that the one lucky punch that Paul and WWE had been talking about just wasn't lucky enough. Reigns did take the punch from the YouTuber turned boxer, but was able to keep the match going, but we imagine his jaw will be plenty sore for the next few days. What did you make to Reigns vs. Paul? Did it exceed expectations? Let us know in the comments below. Reigns vs. Paul was an epic way to end the Crown Jewel Premium Live event, but not everything on the show was able to deliver. The Drew McIntyre vs. Karrion Kross steel cage match was something of a mixed bag, and Scarlett was once again able to interfere on her husband's behalf. Just as the match was picking up momentum, Scarlett got McIntyre with some mace, but the Scottish Warrior still won with a very odd finish. While McIntyre scaled the cage to escape, Scarlett fumbled trying to get the door unlocked to help Kross win, and it was Drew who left Riyadh the victor in a very underwhelming finish. The idea of a steel cage match for Kross vs. McIntyre was always an interesting choice, as this grudge match between the two hate-filled rivals ended with who could run away from the ring first. The finish itself only made Scarlett look foolish, made McIntyre look more lucky than anything else, and may have seriously affected Kross's future booking, and it was an underwhelming finish to a mixed at best match. What did you make of the match though? Sound off in the comments. It was in the show's opener that Brock Lesnar faced off with Bobby Lashley, a wise choice to kick off the night with an incredibly hot match. Not only did WWE start the show with the match, but Lashley would assault Brock before the bell rang, gaining the upper hand and showing some heel tendencies. It worked so well that the crowd in Riyadh were fully behind Lesnar, and Lesnar would come back to win the match. The match was far from clean though, as during the application of the Hurt Lock, Lesnar was able to pin the Almighty's body to the mat, getting a sudden 3 count. A confusing, somewhat sloppy finish, the post-match actions more than made up for it, as Lashley again attacked Lesnar, signaling a character change for the former US champion. It wasn't a full-blown heel turn, but more of a transition into a tweener, an interesting move to make for Lashley. The post-match attack also sets up for a rubber match, as both men have one victory each, and whether it's at the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania 39 as some have suggested, Lashley has a good claim for one more match with the Beasts incarnate. The Lesnar-Lashley bout was certainly hard-hitting, but the finish, which many saw as a botch, didn't sit right with fans. On Twitter, fans expressed their outrage with the finish, with some noting that Lashley's shoulders weren't entirely on the mat, which should have nullified the pinfall. One fan said it was a smart finish, but bad execution, again noting that Lashley's shoulders weren't close to being down. Others simply said that they are hopeful for a rematch, and we can only hope that the next time the two face off, we get the clean finish that has been missing from their 2 singles encounters so far. Are you excited for the idea of Brock vs. Lashley 3? Or would you rather see them face other opponents, and if so, who should be next for both men? In one of the better matches of the night, the Usos retained against the Brawling Brutes despite Jey Uso going into the match with an injury. Commentary made that clear as the match got started, and the Brutes targeted this injury during the match. Despite this, Jimmy and Jey won, and now the brothers have yet another obstacle en route to breaking the New Day's record as tag team champions. To beat the 483-day record, the Usos will have to get through the New Day this Friday, but it's clear that this injury is going to play a huge role. Michael Cole gave an update during Crown Jewel, saying that Jey is expected to have suffered a broken wrist during a live event during the week and will undergo an MRI tomorrow to gauge the severity of the injury. After close to a year and a half on top, it appears that the Usos have too many obstacles to overcome, and it's more likely than ever that their reign could end this Friday on SmackDown. Whether the Usos will make it to the other side or not is hard to tell, but it doesn't seem like the right time for their run to end. Crown Jewel also saw Damage Control regain the WWE Women's Tag Team titles just 5 days after losing the gold to Alexa Bliss and Asuka. The match, like many on the night, ended in controversy as it was Nikki Cross who made the difference, helping Io Sky and Dakota Kai win the gold. The clear indication is that Kross will align with Damage Control for this month's Wargames match, presumably against Asuka, Alexa Bliss, Bianca Belair, and Candice LeRae. The interesting part is that WWE has promoted this year's Wargames as 10-person matches, meaning we need another superstar for each team. With Belair beating Bayley once again at Crown Jewel, the role model's title contention is seemingly over, and we'll have to see what Bliss and Asuka do after their abrupt title reign ended last night. The Judgment Day were once again dominant last night as they got a big win over the OC, thanks once more to Rhea Ripley. It was the Australian who slammed AJ Styles against the apron near the end, allowing the Judgment Day to get the win, and the story is clear that Rhea Ripley is a huge difference maker. The OC, like all teams who have stepped up to the Judgment Day, have little chance of success while she's a factor, and the build-up seems to be leading to the recruitment of a female member to the OC to neutralize the Rhea problem. We can't say who it is, but recent live events have seen Raquel Rodriguez in the role, so perhaps it'll be a clash of the former NXT Women's Champions in this war between the Judgment Day and the OC. Crown Jewel saw Braun Strowman face his biggest challenge, literally, to date in the form of Omos, and it was the Nigerian giant who dominated early on. WWE did well to showcase the raw strength of Omos, and for the first time since his September return, Strowman was on the back foot. After failed attempts to take Omos off his feet, Strowman ducked a running slam in the corner and hit the Giant with a running power slam for the win, in arguably the best match Omos has had in his WWE career to date. Strowman needed the win as he continues to pick up momentum en route back to the world title picture, and while Omos hasn't exactly had the best run in WWE, he's always improving, something that will go down well with those backstage. Bianca Belair's incredible reign as Raw Women's Champion continued last night as she defeated Bayley in an instant classic last woman standing match. A brilliant match filled with memorable spots, the finish saw Bayley get trapped and unable to make the 10 count, protecting the role model while keeping the gold on Belair. From the looks of things, Belair is going to hold the title until WrestleMania 39, where she's rumored to face Charlotte Flair, and going by what we've seen, Belair's reign could easily extend past next year's Showcase of the Immortals. Bray Wyatt also made the trip to Crown Jewel and came with a tease for his future plans. In the ring, Wyatt spoke about his time as the Fiend and feeling untouchable when he put on the monstrous mask, but was interrupted by Uncle Howdy. The dark character told Wyatt not to take off the mask and seemingly urged him to give in to what he wanted. This promo was far less vague than what we've seen, and there's several things Bray could have been alluding to. Wyatt is seemingly full of regret over his time as the Fiend and hasn't expressed interest in becoming the character again. At Extreme Rules, the Fiend was seen, but someone else wore the mask, so perhaps Uncle Howdy is looking for someone new to take on the persona for a feud with Bray. Wyatt also spoke about coming from a wrestling family, as his brother is Bo Dallas and his father is Mike Rotunda, and some have questioned whether Wyatt will make a new family to go against the Bloodline. In fact, it's possible that these two ideas will link, and that the new Fiend will be none other than Dallas, forcing Wyatt to not just feud with his brother, but his own demonic creation. While Bray spoke a lot about wearing a mask, we can't rule out that perhaps he was talking about the masked characters fans saw at Extreme Rules, possibly teasing someone's arrival in the coming weeks. One thing that certainly seems clear is that the Fiend is expected to return, as Uncle Howdy tried to remind Bray just how powerful he was with the character. It was on SmackDown that Wyatt spoke of his anger issues, which could lead to him bringing back the Fiend and pick up where he left off on WWE TV when he was released last year. Wyatt was very serious after being confronted by Uncle Howdy on the show, but the former Universal Champion was able to enjoy himself after his segment. In footage recorded by fans, Bray can be seen breaking character and shaking hands with fans as he made his way to the back and was clearly happy to be there. It's still unclear what Bray will do next, but after over a year away, the former Universal Champion is back where he belongs. Bray had a lot to say during his in-ring promo at Crown Jewel, but that wasn't the only time he made his presence felt. During an interview before the WWE Women's Tag Team title match, Wyatt's logo appeared during a segment with Alexa Bliss and Asuka, alluding to Bliss's past with the Fiend. It appears that the moth logo was only meant for Bliss because neither Asuka nor Byron Saxton reacted to the logo. It's been rumored for some time that Wyatt will be recruiting a stable of his own, and after what happened during this segment, we have to consider Bliss a favorite to join whatever dark group Bray, or perhaps Uncle Howdy, is building. And we're ending today with Naomi and Sasha Banks, who were part of WWE Crown Jewel 2022, sort of. After being absent from WWE TV for close to half a year, fans noticed that both women have been re-added to WWE's intro package before the show began, another sign that they'll be back soon. Banks and Naomi were suspended following their May 16th Raw walkout, and at the same time, WWE did all they could to distance themselves from the two, suspending the former champions and calling them unprofessional. Banks and Naomi recently pulled out of a festival appearance due to a scheduling conflict, which some have seen as another sign of an imminent WWE return, and after last night, expect the pair back very soon. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.